Have you ever wondered what it actually takes to be a successful entrepreneur? Well, today, we got something a little different for you. What we're going to do is we are going to review the movie The Founder, which is chock full of tons of entrepreneur tips that you can use to start making money in your business, in your life, or if you have a business already, excel and make more than you ever dreamed possible. And we are starting right now. Let's see if it's up to the founder's standards. He said it should have 3 pickles, the right amount of mustard and ketchup. 1 pickle, just ketchup. Shouldn't be up to par. Let's talk about The Founder. Let's talk about how this movie works, and let's talk about what it has to do with you and entrepreneurship. First of all, The Founder is the story, the real story, as it is, right, based on a true story, of how Ray Kroc founded or became the founder of the McDonald's restaurant chain. Now, back in the old days, I'll give you a little story because this story has a lot to do with entrepreneurs, how you can make money and everything like that. So here's Ray Kroc. He's a guy back in like the 30s or 40s or 50s, I think it was the 50s, and he's out there and he's hustling. He's trying to sell these little mixers for milkshakes. And so he goes door to door to all these restaurants and talks to the owners and says, hey guys, do you want to buy this? It's going to help you. It's going to get you more efficient. It's going to make more milkshakes. It's going to do all this stuff for you. And he's kind of hard on his luck. He's tried lots of things before and he's struggling. He's trying to make this work. Sure, he's got a house. Some of his things worked before, but he's really struggling at this. And one day, someone calls up his office and says, I want to place an order for 6 of these machines. We need 6 milkshake makers. And he thinks to himself, okay, this has got to be an error. No one orders 6 of these. So he gets on the phone, he calls one of the McDonald's brothers and he says, are you sure you mean 6? He says, no, actually it is an error. I meant to place an order for 8. And he says, well, what's the deal? How does one company buy 8 of these? How does one store afford 8 of them and actually able to push that out? Because up until then, it was all these drive-ins and diners and things like that where they had all this food and maybe they sold a few milkshakes, but it wasn't like McDonald's was doing. McDonald's was out there huffing and puffing and getting lots of milkshakes sold, like the Big Bad Wolf or something like that. But you're going to find out the Big Bad Wolf in this story isn't the McDonald's brothers, is actually the founder here. And I actually don't agree with some of his business principles, although, hey, if you want to be a billionaire, sometimes you got to do some things that goes against the grain. But at any rate, back to our story. So he drives across the country and he goes to meet these McDonald's brothers they have this hamburger chain and it's selling so many hamburgers, people out. And he's like, what do you mean you serve food in a bag in a wrapper and you don't take it to someone at their car, or you don't serve it somewhere and you don't have chicken and you don't have beans and you don't have entrees and meals and you just have this stuff, 15 cents for hamburgers? Well, he goes on and he gets a tour of the back office, and this is where it gets good for the entrepreneur. So he says, hey, you know what? We're going to buy these things from you. How would you like a tour of the operation to see how this restaurant works? And he says, there is nothing I would love more than to see that tour. And he goes through and he talks to him about how this works. Now, what he notices is this isn't like the typical diner. This isn't like the diners where you walk in and everything's chaotic. There's tons of things going on. There's tons of meals going out. This is a streamlined operation. It is meant to sell several different products in mass quantity very fast. So here is the good things that the McDonald's brothers had. Very cool. Number 1, we're going to find out they had a great name. Excellent. Okay? And if you haven't seen this movie yet, go see it. So number 1, they had a good name, right? A name people could remember. A name that went with something. It was wholesome. It worked, right? Number 2, they had a completely streamlined operation. Okay? Streamlined op. What does this do for the entrepreneur? It shows you get rid of waste, focus on what works, and do it very, very efficiently. Their goal was from order to customer in 30 seconds. All right? Very cool. So it's like, hey, from order to customer in just 30 seconds. Awesome. They were like, boom, this is the deal. This is how it works. This is what we're selling. Next, what they had is quality control, and 4th, consistency. Right? Quality control and consistency. So they made sure that their quality control, even though this isn't that quality of a product compared to food standards, right? Their quality control was, we're going to make it the same way every single time you come in here. It tastes the same exact way every time, because that's what people are expecting. Second, consistency. The consistency that you're going to get what you order. Now, these are the things that the McDonald's brothers did good, did really well, and worked at, okay? Lots of other restaurants were failing because their profit margins were so low. He says, let's streamline, let's do it fast, let's only focus on what works. I'm not going to order chicken in bulk if one guy orders chicken. I'm not going to make Salisbury steak if one guy a week orders it. Let's make what works. Hamburgers, fast, in a thing, done deal. Now, what we want to do is we want to take a look at this, because this is where Ray Kroc enters the picture. Ray Kroc enters the picture and he says, dude, this is unlike any other operation I've ever seen. This is insane. It works. And he says, light bulb, anyone can do this. Anyone. You take someone off the road, you plug in these things, boom, done deal. This is called the franchise model. Now, what happened here, what happened here is he goes to the brothers. He says, hey, McDonald's brothers, check it out. Let's franchise this mofo. Let's get this thing out. Let's make a bunch of money. And the brothers say, oh, well, you know, we tried that and it doesn't work. Okay? We tried and gave up. Okay, so many people, so many entrepreneurs try something and give up. Now, here's the secret. Trying and giving up is the worst way to go, because you don't get the right data, because someone else can do the same thing and get insane results, as we see hundreds of billions of dollars later. Hundreds of billions of dollars later, this thing blows up. Okay, so they said, hey, I tried it and I failed. How many things have you tried and you gave up and say, hey, it doesn't work, we're not going to try it again? Well, sometimes you got to be able to make these decisions, and you got to be able to say, just because it didn't work the way I did it that time doesn't mean that it won't work another time a different way. Very important. So Ray comes in here and he's like, let's franchise it. They say, we tried it, we gave up. All right, so Ray goes home and he's like, man, well, at least I learned about this streamlined thing and whatever. And this thing's eating at him. He's like, I know I can franchise this thing. I know I can make a lot of money. So he goes to the brothers again and again and again and hounds them. He hawks his house, right? Because he knows it's going to work. And how many times have you actually put your skin in the game when you know something's going to work? Right? He's like, I'm going to hawk my house. My wife's going to be pissed at me, but I'm going to make this work. And billions of dollars later, he's the one laughing to the bank. Right? So we have this, and it's like, okay, what are you willing to do to get where you want to go? Big, big, important thing. What am I willing to do to get where I want to go if I know something's going to work? So we look at this. Number one. What did he do? What did Ray Kroc do? He was persistent. He was persistent when he was selling the mixers. He was persistent in asking these people until they said yes. So many people on my list, they're like, oh, I asked for a merchant account. I asked for an affiliate account. I asked for this and I didn't get it. Boo-hoo. Freaking Colonel Sanders asked thousands of times until he finally got someone who would buy his stuff. Done, right? We look at it. This is the goal. Now, luckily, we're not in the 50s, we're not in the 30s. We can excel because the data's there. We know what works. Just like the people who came after McDonald's and copied the idea, right? They knew it was going to work because there it is. There's the model. Follow a model that works. Persist. Number two, what you're going to notice in this movie is that you need to know what business you're in. A lot of people think that I am in the affiliate marketing internet business. Well, here's the key. There really isn't an internet marketing as a business. I mean, you can market things online, but what's the real business you're in? The real business we are in is traffic, direction, advertising, and selling. Boom, there you go. What are we in? We're in traffic, direction, advertising, and selling. We direct traffic, we place ads, and we sell stuff. That's the business you're in. Don't get confused thinking that the business you're in is WordPress. Don't get confused thinking you're in the web hosting business or whatever, unless you're in that business. Same thing happened Ray Kroc was there. He starts selling these businesses faster than he can even imagine, right? He's like, boom, I got guys here in Seattle or whatever, St. Louis, all these places, right? Tons of McDonald's are popping up. And he's like, why am I not rich? I sold a ton of these things. He wasn't rich because he was only getting 1.5% or something like that after the McDonald brothers took their part. He got 1.5% of the sales, which 1.5% of a hamburger isn't much. He meets this guy at the bank when he's about to be down and out. They're like, dude, your home loan is due. You hawked your house, you lost, it's over, you're screwed. Most of us would give up or get a job or find something to do, but not Ray Kroc because he had persistence. He walks out and he's like, I gotta find a way. This guy chases him out of the bank. He says, hey dude, buddy, I heard what you said at the bank. And Ray's like, you jerk, why are you listening to my conversation? What the heck, dude? I need privacy. He says, I need to sit down with you and talk to you about this. So he gets a meeting, they go, they sit down, they look at the books, they look at the ledger. And he turns to him and he says, Ray, you know what your problem is? Your problem is you think you're in the business of selling hamburgers. You're not in the business of selling hamburgers. Check this out. You got these franchisees. Let's say you got 25 franchisees. They're all paying insane amounts of rent to rent the land that their McDonald's is on. Boom. There you go. You're not in the hamburger business. You need to be in the real estate business. You need to go and buy the property that the McDonald's is on, make an agreement to where they have to use that property and lease it from you. Now, instead of struggling, now you're getting tons of money. You're getting rent from 25 people. You're getting your kickback. You're getting everything. And then, of course, later we find out the franchise fees and everything, and it's absolutely absurd, right? So we look at that. He's like, boom, you are in the real estate business. How much was that one consultation worth? And you need to know, right? You need to know, and I think it's one of ours here. Yes, that's number 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. The value of insight and a mentor. Lots of people come to me and say, Marcus, pay $300 for your program. You know, people say, oh, Marcus, I want to have a Skype call with you. I say, great. Our Skype coaching is $2,500 a month. They say, oh, that's ridiculous. $2,500 for a few Skype calls. I mean, you do it free. It doesn't cost you anything. Yes, but what is the value? What is the value of that call? What is the value of that sit down where the dude says, buddy, Ray, you're in the real estate business. That was worth billions. And I guarantee you, it probably took less than 30 minutes to tell him that. Done deal. Right? So you got to look at this stuff. You got to be able to make decisions. You got to look at this and say, hey, I need to figure out what business I'm in. I got to figure out what's going on. I got to know the business. I got to streamline everything. Right? Streamline it. Know what you're doing. Be able to answer questions. Be able to ask questions of your mentors. Be able to find guides who can fix things. Right? You look at the President of the United States. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, doesn't matter. We're talking about the office. The office of the President of the United States is surrounded by tons and tons and tons of advisors. Why? Because one person doesn't know everything and one person shouldn't do everything. If you own a restaurant, don't be behind the counter. Pay someone to do it and you learn how to pay for them. Right? Done deal. That way you don't have to work. This is what we're talking about here. Same thing works with internet marketing. So the value of the intelligent mentor. Can you find people around you? Can you find people that will get you where you want to go, that will help you streamline things? Years ago, I remember there was someone who said, hey, you're doing this thing with PayPal, you got these shopping carts, whatever. Why don't you switch to Infusionsoft? I switched to Infusionsoft. Everything else is history. Made a lot of money. There's times when I was able to look at Google stats and see that most of my traffic was coming from one guy. I could go around Google, buy the traffic from the guy direct. Boom! Done deal. $16,000 every 2 weeks profit as opposed to like 4. Very cool. So persistence, number 1. You got to have that if you're an entrepreneur. Number 2, you got to know what business you're in. Number 3, you got to streamline everything, make it work, make it run smooth. Don't try to do everything. Don't try to sell everything like the diners. Sell the one thing like the Krocs did and do it really, really, really well. Next, focus on what sells. Whatever is selling, whatever people want, focus on that. Don't litter your site, don't litter your business with all this stuff if there's only one item that does really, really good, focus on the one item, you'll make 10 times as much, and you don't have to have inventory. You don't have to have all these sites. You don't have to have all these confusing links. Very important. Duplicate what works. Number 6, the value of the intelligent mentor. Number 7, like Ray Kroc did, do lots of stuff. Do a lot of things. Focus on stuff. Don't say I tried and I gave up. Have some persistence. There's parts of this movie where you see Ray, he's on the road, he's trying to sell these things, and he's listening to tapes. He's filling his brain with good stuff, and he's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to persist. His family laughed at him. His friends laughed at him. They basically kicked him off the golf course, and they're like, get out of here. And he said, you know what? I know this stuff works. Forget everyone else. I'm going to do what works. The majority of the people don't get this. The majority of the people don't get internet marketers. My family still doesn't know what the hell I do, and I've been doing it for 17 years. They have no clue. Some people think I am crazy. Some people think I'm a little less crazy, and that's about the sum of it. But they all laughed when I started my business. 17 years later, millions of dollars later, the rest is history. When they laughed at Ray Kroc, they said, oh, it's not going to work. That's silly. It's another one of your schemes. Do what you know works, plain and simple. Number 8, the last one we'll go over. Don't leave money on the table. Don't leave money on the table. What Ray Kroc did when he went into McDonald's is he said, look, there's a lot of money on the table. You could streamline different things. You can make things cheaper. You can do it better. You can get it to the customer, because at the end of the day, if the customer's happy, pretty much nothing else matters as long as that's the deal. So that was the thing. And he said, hey, look, what we'll do is we'll streamline this stuff. We'll make it big. We'll buy in bulk. We'll change the way we do the milkshakes. We'll change the way we do things. We'll take the money that's on the table with the real estate. Boom. How much was he leaving on the table? Tons of money. Here's a guy who's broke, sitting on a fortune he doesn't know exists, because he needs someone to come tell him that there's a fortune that he doesn't know exists. How many of you guys out there are like the majority, and you know that there's a fortune out there, but you don't know where it is? You need someone to point it out. You need to be willing to take that risk. Ray was an egotistical, crazy person who did a lot of business things I don't agree with. I don't like putting people out of business. I don't like doing stuff like that, which is probably why I'm not a multi-billionaire, which is cool with me. I'm good with that. However, there are things we can learn. He was an ego dude, but he was also not too proud to listen to other people, because he knew that other people could have the advice that he needs. He had advisors around him that said, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, do this. Legal people, all kinds of stuff. So what you want to do is you want to focus on not leaving money on the table by ignoring what's going on around you. Don't get so caught up into thinking your way is the best way. This is what the McDonald's brothers did. They said, our way is the best. We got to have the burger this way. We got to have this way. We can't do that. We can't up the price. The franchisees will lose out. Well, hey, the franchisees are getting rich here, and you ain't making jack. So something's got to change. Number 9, we'll put a bonus in here. Number 9, follow the money. Where's the money trail? You want to get rich? Follow the money, find out where it leads, go after what works. Streamline it, make it work. Be consistent, be persistent. Do what you gotta do to go where you need to go. I hope you enjoyed this video review of The Founder. Michael Keaton is a great actor, excellent movie. Go watch it, and then post your comments below. If you have something else to add, or maybe a tip that you liked, you can put your favorite tip below. Thanks again for watching this. Subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again. You can hop over to affiliatemarketingdude.com right now if you want to get my free software and learn how to make money as an internet affiliate marketer. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.